once again for the renegade master. Back 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 once again for the renegade master.
Hello my renegades and welcome back. And what are we getting back into? As you all know, Love Island All Stars. We are now on episode 3. We know the bombshells have now entered the villa, so we know there was going to be a recoupling afoot, did we not? Anyway, before we get into it, as I always ask, please hit that subscribe button and please hit that notification button so you know I'm on and doing videos. As again, I thank each and every one of you that are subscribing to my channel. I appreciate it very, very much. But I will say, I'll plug myself a little bit. I do talk a good game. And I know I get the views as well. So please, come on in. Come on in. Don't be afraid. Come and join my renegade army. I'll be happy to have you. Anywho. So, Arabella, or I think it's Molly at first, is saying that it's weird that Joe has come in. So basically, Joe was having a chat with all the girls, you know, where they have the chat with the girls and then they swap and then he has a chat with the lads. Well, that's what was happening at this moment in time. So it kind of came out during that conversation that, you know, Molly and Joe shared a little bit of a kiss. They don't necessarily have history per se, but they did share a little bit of a kiss. And all the girls were listening to that piece very intently. One person in particular was listening to that piece very intently. And like they were giggling, finding it funny, trying to find out who he was interested in. Joe's keeping his cards close to his chest, basically, which is what you need to kind of do in there. But the villa will always throw something so you can kind of get an idea on who these people like and who these people will go to, unless they play the sneaky long game, like I think Jess did when it came to Callum. Anyway. So Callum was talking about the twins and basically said that he'd coupled up with Eve on his series. And Joe is basically saying that he's just wanting to get the feels and see who he wants to get to know. But he, again, playing his cards close to his chest. The same with the girls. Evie and Jess, they're not, you know, saying anything in terms of who they may or may not be interested in. So, of course, when you see the Islanders start to gather around the fire pit with no may nor do, there's no text to tell them to go around the fire pit, you know something is afoot. And it was a game of pick a dare from the box and then you have to do it. So I believe that it's Jess that picks first and she has to snog the two Islanders that she finds most attractive. So she went for Toby and Casey. Casey was loving it. Casey was in seventh heaven. But you know what? And Toby was kind of like, okay, kind of shocked by that. So Casey had snog the two Islanders you would have a threesome with. So I was like, Casey's done been waiting for Joanna for a long time. So Casey managed to snog the face off Joanna and then he kissed Eve. I was like, Eve was sat right next to Joanna, so he didn't have to go too far. So then Kaz got snogged the Islander most likely to cheat and she picked Casey. Me, myself, just because I am that girl, I would have went to Georgia S and gave her a little peck on the cheek or done. Wouldn't have gone a full snog because, you know, I don't know if that she's that way inclined, to be fair. But yes, I would have gone to Georgia S. I would have been that girl. I really would have. But Molly did turn around and ask if he'd ever cheated, and Casey was like, no. And he did, and you could see that Casey felt a little bit put out by being chosen in that category by Kaz, and Kaz was apologetic to him, but in a jokingly way apologetic. But yeah, Casey didn't like being picked for that one because he basically said that, you know, he's never cheated, but other people have, so he doesn't know why he was picked. So Joe got snogged the Islander with the best chat. He kissed Molly, of course. Tom was not liking that he zeroed in on Molly in the slightest. Tom was not liking that. And you could see from Tom's face that he had a little bit of the green-eyed devil sitting on his shoulder. He was a little bit jealous. So then, of course, Georgia S had to pipe up and open her mouth and say, "Was that the first time you kissed Joe?" And I'm like, why would you say that though? Why would you throw that girl under the bus like that? Bearing in mind, you've already had the chat, so you know that was not the first time that Molly had kissed Joe, but Molly had kept that shit to herself at the end of the day. Do you know what I mean? So I was just thinking, yeah, Georgia S, you're being a sly little cowbag. So then Georgia H said it wasn't one snog and it wasn't a big deal at the end of the day, which is true. It's going to be on their seasons. You snog a whole heap of people. You lips up a whole heap of people. So I don't know why Georgia S felt the need to do that, but she did. So Eve got snogged the islander you would most like to be coupled up with. So she snogged Casey because we already know Eve. Eve wants Casey and Jess is interested in Callum, it looks like. Then it came on to Anton. Anton had to choose the islanders you want to see kiss, then they must kiss. So he turned around and he picked Joe and Joanna, and Chris looked at Anton as if to say, I thought we were buds. And then the man actually did say it to him, but it's a game, and that's how you must treat it. So Georgia S got snogged the islander you would introduce to family and friends. So of course that was Toby, of course. It couldn't be any other person. It couldn't be any other person because Callum is out of that picture for her. It couldn't be. So Sophie got snogged the islander other than your partner that you would like to spend time in the hideaway with. So of course she picked Chris. It was the obvious choice. So Toby got snogged the islander you see a future with. Of course, easy choice, Georgia S. But Callum did look hurt. I'm not gonna lie, Callum looked mighty hurt and uncomfortable by them two and their questions and their. So Josh got one islander who is here for love, other for the follow. So Toby said, do it for real. So when you're saying that Toby said to do it for real, yeah, that's where Toby's head was going. And that's probably where Georgia S' head went to, in terms of Josh is going to do this as though, yes, he's picking these people because he believes that this is what they're here for. So basically, he kissed Sophie for love. And I'm like, you're gassing that girl's head. Josh is proper gassing that girl's head, you know. Imagine you go and kiss her for love. Okay, then we'll see how that happens and works out for you too. So he then went to Georgia S for the followers. And of course, instead of just letting it go over her head, she had to question it. She had to question it. And basically, Josh told her point blank that he thought she had something good with Callum, and she switched quite quickly from Callum to Toby. So yes, that's why he picked her. He felt that he would have done that for the followers. So with that, of course, Georgia S had to then go into her reasons, had to call him out as to why he would have done what he did. It did not go over her head. She didn't treat it like a joke. And Josh was saying that it really is not that deep. So basically, Josh told her that if her and Toby had made a go of it on the outside, then she wouldn't have come in here, basically. So basically, she came in, he was saying, to get the followers. And I was like, well, okay then. Okay then. But then the game got spoiled because, you know, Georgia S couldn't, she's not the type of girl to let that shit go, let that shit fly, especially when she was pissed off. Georgia H again came to her defense, and then after the fact, Toby came to her defense in regards to why would you do that, and thinking that it was a cop out basically. So I'm like, that even if Josh did do it as a heart-lighted joke, and Josh thought, you know, she would be able to take it, obviously not, because all of this shit is still a sore subject. It's still a sore subject at the end of the day for some people. So basically, Georgia S is saying that she's not annoyed and that it's gone over her head. And I'm like, no, it ain't gone over your head. You're annoyed. You're annoyed that Josh picked you out, that you were there just for the followers and not for love at the end of the day. It annoyed you because you and Toby thought that there was other people that that Josh could have essentially picked and felt that it was a cop-out. So at the end of all of that, you see, Josh come over to have a chat first with Toby, because it was Toby that called him over to have a chat with him. So Georgia S bowls her way over there, sits down, and then them two start going in on Josh at the end of the day in regards to the situation. So Kaz gets up, because she was sat with them, and moves away from the group because she's like, I'm not a part of this at all. So they're both going in at Josh, and Josh is basically saying, and after Georgia S then walks off, Josh was basically saying to Toby, at the end of the day, you are having a go at me like I'm the one that's done something wrong, and I ain't done nothing wrong. It's Georgia S that has done something wrong, but no one's picking her up on her bullshit at the end of the day, which is true. Yes, she has the right to defend herself when she thinks someone is doing some fuck shit to her. She has the right to defend herself, but then she's also got to understand where it's coming from, what place it's coming from as well. And Toby's got to understand that too, because they've got to be prepared for the bullshit that's going to come their way, because it's only been what? From the PDAs and all the shit blowing over, it's only been like 2 days. 2 days so far. Their coupling is right now. And the fact that, you know, she hurt someone in order to get to where she is right now. Do you know what I mean? So you see Joe pull Molly for a chat, because I think he wants to know where she's with the situation with Tom. And basically Molly was quite honest that, you know, things are looking good with her and Tom at this moment in time, basically. And they're not closed off and have not had the closed off chat. Do you know what? I'm tired with this closed off chat. You know, when are you closed off? If someone says to you, oh, you both agree, like say with the Josh and Sophie situation, that you're not going to speak to nobody else, right? You're not going to be entertaining anybody else, and even if bombshells come in, none of them are going to turn your head. You're not going to entertain their rubbish or nothing. All you want to do is focus your energy and concentrate your energy on the person that you're dealing with right now. Isn't that being closed off? Isn't that you saying you are now not available to anybody else but the person that you're dealing with right now? So I don't understand in terms of the closed off chat. From when you said that you're shutting and locking yourself down to this one person only, and you've both agreed to that, you've closed yourself off completely already. Have you not? Like, seriously, someone tell me, have you not? So basically, you see Joe coming over after, like, I think Sophie, I think it was Eve, and Josh were having a conversation on the chairs or whatever it is, the open air beds or whatever the hell you want to call it. And Joe comes over just to steal Sophie to have a chat with her. So Josh isn't technically liking that at all. So Sophie is basically having this chat with Joe, and basically Sophie's honest in terms of where she is in regards to her feelings with Josh. And basically that, yes, they aren't closed off as yet. Yes, they're both open, but they are getting on really well. So Joe was happy to have that moment in order to understand where it is that her and Josh were. So come the night time, yeah, you see Josh and Sophie in bed. Josh is a little bit pissed in the fact that Sophie went and had this chat with Joe and literally didn't shut things off with him completely. So basically, she just turned around after he asked what was the chat like. She said it was nice, and she did tell him that them two are not closed off. So Josh has turned around to her and told Sophie to do her, and basically that in her doing her, yeah, he's going to take a step back. And I just thought, what in the emotional schematics is that? Like, seriously, this is the territory that I think all these people do in some way, shape or form. They literally throw out these little shitty bits, yeah, because when they want a person, they don't want a person to get to know another person or believe that they should shut that shit down quite quickly. This is what they do. They take I'm going to take a step back. You do what you have to do. Basically telling them, by literally showing them and telling them that they're not happy with this turn of events and that they need to act accordingly, basically. And Sophie then complained when she got up in the morning that Josh wouldn't cuddle her in the slightest. And I said, this is his game plan. He doesn't want you to talk to Joe. At the end of the day, It's unfair because Sophie gave him grace in which to go and get to know Joanna to make his own mind up on whether he was going to shut that shit down or not. Yeah. Now he's up in arms because he's pissed, hella pissed and jealous that she ain't shut Joe down and having a chat with him, and he doesn't like it. Pot calling kettle black is how I see it. Josh needs to fucking wind his neck in, yeah. Give Sophie a chance to say what she needs to say to Joe at the end of the day. The same way in which Sophie gave you a chance to say and do what you need to do with Joanna, even though you did half the shit behind her back. Like, seriously. And then I noticed that Arabella wasn't actually there overnight time, so she must not have been too well. But her gauge on Joe coming in, and already my girl is saying she's got history with this dude, that they had a flirt way back when, and she didn't know if he was going to be serious or not. But she's saying Joe's arrival has come at a good time for her. And I'm just like, 5 years have passed. 5 years have passed, yeah, since you two had a good flirt on. Or you're saying that you thought that something may have came of it, but it didn't. So you want to see how it goes. 5 years have passed. That's not history. That's historical. You didn't have history with Joe. You want to create some history now, but you didn't have history with Joe. Arabella kind of does that to everybody that comes in. Hopefully it works out well with her with Joe, because at the end of the day, she needs something good to happen with her, to be fair. Because two dudes down, and this girl's just been dashed to the side. So hopefully things work out good with Joe. So basically you do see Sophie and Joe have another chat, and basically Sophie does shut things off with him completely. So then after she's done that, she goes and has a chat with Josh and tells Josh that she shut it off completely with Joe. And I just knew it was because of Josh's behaviour that she did that. That she didn't even decide to give Joe a chance to get to know him and say, do I really want to put my all into someone like Josh? No, she didn't. She just wants Josh. She sees Josh, that's her man. That's her man now, that's her man. She wants him. She does. So she made sure that he knew that, you know, she'd shut Joe down, and Josh was completely happy with that. They both said that they're completely open with each other in regards to not wanting to get to know each other, but yet they won't say that they're closed off. Makes no sense. It just makes no sense to me. I'm going to have to say the rest of the conversations were a little bit blah 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 at the end of the day. They really were. So we know that Georgia H and Anton are getting on pretty well, but as I always say, it's err on the side of caution with Georgia H in terms of Anton. I think because Anton is a constant is why she's doing what she's doing, to be fair. I hope it isn't the case for Anton. I hope it isn't the case, because Anton really is a nice guy. But I just don't think it's the case for Georgia H, to be fair. I think she's trying a little too hard. She's trying a little too hard. So basically, Anton's told her that she does not have to worry about him having his head turned by anybody else. He is in it with her 100%, yeah? And so basically, he's turned around and says that they're that they're not exclusive, but they are unavailable. Okay, my God. Okay, we'll see how that works out, but okay. So another text comes in, and there's going to be a recoupling. Jess, Eve, and Joe will get the first pick, and I was like, here it goes, people. Here it goes. So they're all getting ready for the night. Another text pulls in. They all have to go to the fire pit. I'm like, and I knew from that point that someone had to go. Someone had to go that night, because there's too many unequal couples. With all the people that's in, there's too many people, so there's going to be an unequal person there. So someone is going to go tonight. And I kind of had it in my head already that it would be Kaz. I kind of had it in my head already that it would be Kaz, because nobody really picked Kaz for Kaz, to be fair. Nobody really picked her. they just picked her as a safety post because nobody else in the villa was there for them at that point in time. So it's quite weird that the boys get to pick again, because I'm sure in the last recoupling the lads picked because Toby picked Georgia S, so I remember that. So Joe stands up, so Joe gets to pick first. Tom looks scared. Tom looks like his butt is doing that. He didn't have to worry anyway because he picked Arabella, and I was like, okay, all right, I didn't see that coming, but okay. Even Arabella didn't see that coming, but okay. I think it was the flirty banter that they had. It really was the flirty banter that I had. So Jess picked Callum. I don't see it with them two, but okay, Callum's got somebody now to chat to. Eve picked Casey. Tom basically said he's got what he's looking for and he's planning for the future now with this girl, and he's at the point where he wants to close things off with this girl, and he picked Molly. And I was like, okay, my God, okay. So then Anton comes up and, you know, he gives the whole 4-page letter. I'm sending him a 4-page letter, and he sealed it with the kiss. If I write him, he better get it on time. Yeah, that's what Anton did. Four whole page letter. And he picked Georgia H at the end of that. And then there were the 3 girls left, one of them being Kaz. And that's when I knew from that moment Kaz is not going to get picked. And I think Kaz knew she was not going to get picked. So Toby stood up, and of course, him go and pick him Georgia S. Of course he is. Of course. And then Josh stood up and he picked Sophie. He's saying he is not one for saying it's closed off as it's cringe. So what the fuck are you going to call it, Josh? But no one else will turn his head. So I thought, just choose another word for closed off. I mean, Anton chose they're non-exclusive, but they're unavailable. Do that. And then Chris was last to pick, and of course, Chris picked Joanna. His speech, yeah. Set people a giggle. Set people a giggle, but that's just, you know, the person that Chris is. And as for Kaz, it's the way Love Island goes. And it really was a shame to see her go. Like, it really was a shame to see her go. Even Toby cried. Because what you have to realise, Kaz, Toby and Chris, they were the 3 friends. But Kaz was really close to Toby. And wherever you saw Kaz, you kind of did see Toby, because he always sought her out to chat to. And she was literally the voice of reason for everybody in there. So she will be missed. Her presence will be missed, and definitely by me, because I really like me some Kaz. Like, seriously did. So she did have her exit interview with Maya. Wasn't really anything to write home about, because Kaz is not a messy person at the end of the day. But all I can say is that's the end of that episode, and I'll be back in quick succession with the next episode. As I always say, my renegades, please hit that subscribe button. Please hit that notification button so when you know I'm on and doing videos. And I'll speak to you all again soon. Peace out.